Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit of conflict or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. My name is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you already to all of you guys that have hit that like button. Thank you to all of the new subscribers. I appreciate you. To all of the ones that have been here, I appreciate you as well. But again, make sure you guys hit that like button on your way in. Subscribe if you have not done so already. We are here to discuss what has been brewing over the internet the last couple of days. So, for those of you that have not been following over here on this platform, first of all, you should be doing that because you're missing out on all of the legal news, all of the Hollywood news as it has pertains to lawsuits that were filed. So, last Friday on November 24th, there was an expiration of a statute, which was an adult survivor statute, right? This statute allowed people who claim that they were essayed in any way, but they had a statute of limitation, so they couldn't bring it into the court because the statute of limitation expired. It gave a 1-year look back. So they were able to revive their claims as long as it was within that year that they revived it. It didn't matter if it happened in the 70s. It didn't matter if it happened in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. People have filed lawsuits against politicians. We've seen Cuomo. We've seen Mayor Eric Adams. But the bombshell that started this whole thing was a lawsuit that was filed against Sean Puffy Diddy Combs. And that was filed by his ex-girlfriend, Cassie, who was also an artist on Bad Boys. So after that occurred, we started noticing some individuals that were coming forward that seemed to be alluding to having information and they're about to divulge the information. So initially, when I would see this happen on Instagram or wherever on social media, I just posted on the wall, on the community wall. So you guys go check that out, just so you guys can stay in the know if I don't have the time to go live. But then I just noticed the progression of things that were being said in a lot of these individual stories. So one of the stories was Gloria Valez. She is the baby's mother of Aaron Hall. And we talked about Aaron Hall in a lawsuit. The third lawsuit that was filed against Diddy was against Diddy and R&B singer Aaron Hall and Gloria Valez. We went over all of that in the last video where she dated him at around 15, 16, and she had a story where she was pregnant by him at 17. And we went over all of that. So make sure you watch that video that we did on Friday. Well, Gloria has been posting on her Instagram since a lot of this stuff has come out. And this was one of the posts. Let me see. One of the posts that she put up was, she said this, right? This is what she had to say. She said, if you think grooming is happening, if you don't think grooming is happening in this business, you're sadly mistaken. It started in 1994 with Luke and a few others in this business. I was in high school. So, thought that was very, very interesting. Now, what I do want to say before Luke responded, and we're going to put that response up, but what I thought was interesting is there was a video that was about 8 years ago where Luke was discussing Gloria Valez. And when he discussed her, he discussed her as allegedly going in Jay-Z's trailer and some things may have occurred. So when I first saw it, I was like, why would you call out Luke? But then all of a sudden in my timeline, I started seeing that perhaps Luke was not her favorite person. For those of you that don't know, at that time, Gloria Valez was like what they call, I guess, video vixens back in the day. So she was one of those people that would show up in all these videos, modeling, dancing in the videos. And so that's what she did. But apparently, see, I'm starting to appreciate my mother and daddy not letting me do nothing. Because I did not know that 15, 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds was allowed to go to these video shoots and they were allowed to participate and travel wherever these artists was. I'm like, I couldn't even go to concerts. I just, without a chaperone. So some of this stuff I literally was oblivious to. Now, when it comes to the lyrics and the songs, like I put the lyrics to Aaron Hall's song, I think most of us back in the day, we were worried about, see, that's when you had kickers in the back and in the trunk, and you were worried about having your woofers and stuff. So we were more worried about dancing and beats, and we would make up words to the songs. Like, we really didn't even know the lyrics for real. If we were to be honest, back in the 90s, we would just hum, bop our head, make sure it was banging, in the car. But now, because of all of this stuff, a lot of these artists were saying what was going on in their lives. We just weren't paying it any attention. So you said they would lie about their age. Miss Parker. Marsh Bonnie said 90s we having fun. Yes, the 90s were lit. If you were not privileged enough to be in the 90s, you missed out. And I'm sure people in the 60s and 70s probably said the same thing. But yeah, I believe the 90s were pretty lit. I agree. St. James said these kids know nothing about chaperones. I couldn't go to concerts unless an adult was there, and I very rarely was able to go. I mean, part of that was, being in church too. But I just did not know this is a whole world. Like, if it wasn't in Word Up magazine or we didn't see it on MTV and all of that, I didn't necessarily know what was going on. But anyways, what I have on the screen is what Gloria Valez put in her story. So I don't know if that's still there. But last night, Luke decided he was going to respond to it. So when he responded, let me see if I have. Oh, this is what he said. Let me show you guys what he said back then that made me think of maybe this is why Gloria isn't feeling Luke.
Of course she was. No doubt about it. I mean, at that period of time, yeah, she was. I don't know what the lady is doing right now, but at that, so I guess I didn't introduce her to nobody because I didn't know her. Go figure that one out. There's too much video and too much footage of her rolling with us. I guess I didn't introduce her to Biggie Smalls. I didn't introduce her to Jay-Z. I didn't introduce Dame Dash. Nobody. So
what happened between Jay-Z and Gloria Valez?
Nothing. He was looking for some girls in a video to use for his video. He said the girls didn't look good, so I called her on the phone. She lived it in West Palm Beach. And I called her up and I said, hey, look, Jay needs some girls for some video. You got some girls and you come on down also. She ended up coming down doing the video. Whatever happened in the trailer is you have to ask her. I don't know.
All right, well, on the Sway video, you said that they were fucking.
Hey.
Excuse me.
I don't know what happened in the, I think that's what happened.
Okay.
Okay. So this was done on Vlad TV. Everything is on Vlad TV. It was done on Vlad TV like 8 years ago, talking about Gloria. So again, so she puts up this post in her stories, and this is how Luke responds. Let me see.
Grooming, man. Grooming. Fuck is grooming.
Wait a minute. Let me go back.
I just learned what the grooming means. I don't even know what the fucking grooming means. Grooming. Fuck is grooming. They had to explain that to me. Y'all got the right one. I don't have no problem going to court. I'm not Russell Simmons. I'm not them other people. I don't do that. I know my brand. My brand is Luke, hey, we want some pussy. Face down, up, that's what like. Me so horny. The problem is when you know your brand and you know what you're singing about, you subject yourself to be in that kind of trap faster. So what you have to do is really not be about what those songs is talking about, because you can get yourself jammed up. I video everything. Everybody sign releases. I do shows. Ain't no underage people be doing no show with me. I fire girls. You get caught. I have chaperone for the girls, a one-head dancer. It's always one-head dancer. And she put everybody in check. So you're doing, this is not a traveling whorehouse. So you gonna mess around with these other artists, you're gonna get sent home, sweetheart. You get fired.
So he basically said, for those of you that missed it, this is Uncle Luke. He said, you get sued trying to say I groomed some. But first of all, he said he didn't even know what grooming meant. That was the first thing he said. That might have been the first problem, Luke. But then he said, I ain't Russell Simmons. He started calling out names and said, you're going to mess around and catch one of these good lawsuits, putting my name out there. So he made it seem like it was almost a facade of what he was doing out there. And he had someone that was more like a house mother, I don't know, whatever you call them, that kept all the girls in check and didn't allow them to mess with other people. But it's kind of contradictory to what he said in this interview with Vlad, because you were saying that she was there, she was in the video, she was around you, you were being smart, as if, I didn't introduce her to this, because it was something where I think he said he introduced her to Aaron Hall or something, and she said that wasn't true. So this is what the sarcasm was in the Vlad TV, where he was like, I ain't the one to interview her this, I ain't interview her that. But then at the end of that video with Vlad, you said, I don't know what was happening in the trailer. But now you saying you fired people if the girls got on, were in your videos and they were there to work and they started messing with people. See, these videos come back to haunt you when people are coming back to try to redeem themselves. So what has been happening in Gloria Valez's story? She is reposting what people are saying their experiences was. And there was someone who was on there, and they claimed, of course, this is alleged, but they're in her stories, and they're different claims that they're putting in her stories. So I'm trying to screenshot them as they go, because it's moving too fast on these here internet streets. So let me see if I could pull her Instagram up right quick, because I wonder if I could pull up her story. But I think some people said she's been out here talking about this and what was happening back then. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna pull up her story and we'll just go through all her story right quick because you know we have to investigate what is going on here. Let me go to her. Okay. Please do, guys. Please, 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 please. Get these likes up. You got me working on a Sunday, but I enjoy it. I enjoy you guys. I'm not gonna make it seem like it's hard work or something. Let me see. So we're on her Instagram. This is Gloria Valez. She probably got a whole bunch of new followers too since the stuff came out about Aaron Hall. Because nobody was really mentioning her until the Aaron Hall stuff came out. So this is her stories. So she's reposting what people are saying. So we'll just go through all of it. To people talking about the old guys that was hitting on them back in the day. You see this? This is all her. She's reposting what people are saying that are inboxing her and confirming things. You see that one? I was 16 with him. That's allegedly. This in her stories, okay? Luke, don't come for me. I'm just reposting the lady's stories. This is all allegedly. We don't even know who that person was. They probably got a fake name. Try to get everybody else sued, but they got a fake name. Rudy said, I know everybody keeps saying Jaguar has been talking about this, but honestly, it kind of solidifies what I was saying about the young lady at the restaurant, even though we learned, well, let me let this go through the stuff she's saying, and then we'll stop with her. It's somebody else that claimed they was with another person. I guess they're going to come forward in her inbox, and she blocked out who the celebrity was that they were talking about. But what I was saying, everybody keeps mentioning Jaguar Wright and her telling what was happening back then, and it kind of confirms what I was saying. And people were upset with me in the comments, which is fine. We don't have to agree, just be respectful. Is that when you deal with mental health issues and it's a parent, people do tend to brush you off. And sometimes the mental health issues may be connected to the trauma. So when we had the case with the young lady that said she was I think she was in college and she had the psychiatric issues and all of that in the case that we went over, I told you it was going to be a difficult time because they're going to bring up all of her psychiatric issues. How many people shun Jaguar Wright, but now it looks like a lot of her stuff is being confirmed. But people chalk it up to she has mental health issues because they can't separate. They're not separating the two. They think because you have some mental health challenges, then you apparently can't remember stuff or something. I don't know what the concept is, but yes, Jaguar Wright has said a lot of these things, and people have pretty much ignored it, or they discounted it when she's done other shenanigans. People have discounted it. Yeah, and it shouldn't be that way, but it is. That's what it is, unfortunately. Yolanda said Jaguar has some validity, but also participating things and has some bitterness that she sabotaged her career. I'm not as familiar. If you guys could put me up on it, because a lot of her videos or videos with her being on other platforms has come up, but I've never really sat down and just watched her and some of the things that she said. I've learned way more about what she said with you guys in my comments than anything. So, hey, Melanie, thank you for coming on over here on a Sunday. Yeah. So that is the beef that is going on between Miss. You see, she's posting stuff. She is also writing a book. So this is all these people are confirming what I'm saying, is that I think people were more mad at Cassie because they wanted to ride her coattail instead of just come out on their own with stuff and just, you take those bullets, you take those shots, you deal with whether a white van gonna be in front of your house. They wanted her to go further with it and take it. That's what the real outrage was. Because again, in a civil lawsuit, all you can get is money. So whether you get it now or 2 years from now, it's the same outcome. If you win, you may go and the jury don't believe you and you don't get anything. It's all rolling the dice. The jury may not have believed nothing. All these people she put in the complaint may not have validated nothing that she said. They may have been too scared to say anything. And then where would that have left her? So that's why I'm saying I just think people were going to keep coming out and saying stuff, and it's being proven by everybody talking all of a sudden too. Let me take this off. So what I posted, so that's the Cassie and Luke. So we'll keep an eye on that and see if that goes anywhere. If some more people start coming out talking about Luke. Well, the statute has expired, so I'm sure it's a lot of people that's sleeping a little bit better tonight than they were before. Because I said, oh, everybody nervous now. They was nervous till that statute got expired. Because when you got Jimmy Iovine too, he was like, what? Nobody's ever accused me of anything in my life. People were nervous. Nobody was off limits. You had people coming from 30 years ago with claims. Nobody was off limits. Is Cassie going into witness protection? I don't know. I don't even know. I'm pretty certain. I know people have different opinions. I'm pretty certain she's not going to talk about those incidents because it's probably an NDA. Now, even if within the settlement agreement, I'm not saying an NDA outside where she just signed with Diddy, but typically what a provision that's similar to an NDA will be in, you can't talk about that. You can't disparage the other person. They can't disparage you. That's usually in settlement agreements. So I don't see why this would be any different, especially to the magnitude that this is and probably the money he dished out. Now, with that being said, if the court of law tells you you need to talk, it usually has those provisions in it. Even when you have records under seal, they can only be unsealed if the court of law tells you you can unseal them. That's what happened with Bill Cosby. If you guys recall, he did that deposition where he talked about Quaaludes and how he was drugging women and all of that, and that was sealed. And he got a hung jury the first time he went for that criminal trial. But then the judge decided we're going to unseal it. And that's part of why he ended up getting out on the appeal too. So it was unsealed, and then that was used against him on the second one, and he was convicted. So, but yeah. So another thing was in the lawsuit that Cassie filed, she mentioned, and we're going to pull up the lawsuit real quick just so we can refresh our recollection on this specific provision. So in paragraph 67 in the Cassie v. Diddy lawsuit, he says, in the car leaving the club, Mr. Combs beat Miss Ventura, pushing her into a corner of the vehicle and stomping on her face. Mr. Combs' security staff, Roger Bonds. Now, I know everyone keeps talking about the other guy, Gene, that has been talking, but I believe Gene was around more for Kim Porter and maybe not Cassie. But Roger Bonds was, I think, the head of his security. So Roger Bonds tried to stop the beating, but was unable to de-escalate the situation. When the car arrived in Mr. Combs' residence, Miss Ventura attempted to run away, but Mr. Combs followed her and proceeded to again kick her in the face. Miss Ventura was bleeding profusely and was ushered into Mr. Combs' home, where she began to throw up from the violent assault. I'm going to skip and go to 69. During this stay, as her injuries from the beating healed, Miss Ventura began to fully realize that Mr. Combs' tremendously loyal network not only knew about and witnessed his assault, but also that these witnesses were not willing to do anything meaningful to stop Mr. Combs' behavior. She recognized that she was powerless and that reporting Mr. Combs to the authorities would not alter Mr. Combs' status or influence, but would merely give Mr. Combs another excuse to hurt her. When in the hotel, she asked to go home to her parents, but Mr. Combs wouldn't let her leave. She lied to her mother when asked about an online gossip forum that reported the assault. So apparently, Roger Bonds, who was the security, he witnessed the assault that she was referring to, where I guess he tried to break it up but was unsuccessful. But this assault, somebody must have saw her and they reported it on a gossip blog. And so her mother asked her about it and she denied it. So the other day, you guessed it, Robert Bond has come forward saying certain things or whatever as well. So this is what he had to say. I posted a screenshot of what Roger Bond, who was the security, again, this is not Gene, because a lot of people were saying he has 4 different videos where he's talking. This is a whole nother individual. And he kept saying, I'm going to talk now. Well, you guys are going to see. And we were all like, okay, so when you plan on talking? And then I came to the realization that he may have, in my opinion, said he was going to talk for a different reason. But this is it. This is what he posted. He said, this is not, wait a minute. Thought I paused it. Wait, I'll go through it and I'll come back. So this is what he posted in his story. It was like a video. So he's letting everybody know who he is. Got pictures with Cassie. Got pictures with Diddy. Now that my name is involved, I will tell my truth. And he showed like a screenshot. So this is what he was saying. He was like, this is not meant to be threats or snitching or anything like that against Cassie or Diddy or anyone else. This is me telling my truth as I truly remember it for 2 reasons only. First, because I have 4 daughters. So on all dudes, my truth as I see it, saw it, and was involved with it for years. So a lot of people, and I see some of you in the comments, is like, okay, so what you coming out now for? Because honestly, a lot of people believe Cassie and what she said. So really, most people coming out, it would be corroborating what she already said. It's not like you may be able to give us more incidents, alleged incidents perhaps, unless you're going to come out and say it never happened. But then he posted this stuff and then he would take it down. Like he was posting this stuff all day yesterday and then he would take it down. But what I noticed about Roger Bond is apparently he has a son who is in prison. So one of his posts, he mentioned, if you guys aren't texting me about helping my son in his appeal process, I don't want to hear it. So he was mixing that with these posts about telling his truth. So then mysteriously, well, not mysteriously because he took it down. He took all this stuff down that had to do with anything, like all these posts that he had on here, because these were in his story and they were on his actual Instagram page as a post. He took all this stuff down. And then now the only thing, so it's like it brought traffic to his page because a lot of people reported on what he said. But then he took it down and now he's putting a bunch of information up about his son. You get what I'm saying, y'all? So when I seen that, I was like, was he just trying to drive traffic over here? Rose said the bodyguard is trying to cover himself. Well, there's a lot of, what is he gonna, if he say, unless he say it didn't happen. I mean, that's the only thing he can really say, because honestly, it's like, or maybe you're putting it out there. And again, this is just an opinion, or, this is a possibility. You put it out there because it sounds like he needs money to help with his son, because his son, according to him, he did a whole post about his son and he said, oh, wait a minute. Before that happened, he actually did another post before he removed everything. And he said, hold on. he had this. He had, no one will put words in my mouth and no one will sway me. I will stand on truth, not what social media wants it to be, but truth. Hashtag the general. I don't even know what that means. I don't even know what that whole post meant. But all of this stuff, like I said, he took down like rather quickly. But then now when you go to his page, everything is about his son. So apparently his son, let's see if I can pull that up. Pull up his Instagram. His son was he's been in for, I think he said 11 years. So this is now when you go, now you guys seen all the posts I just put up, but now when you go to his page, this is what his page is now. So this is what's on his page. Now, if you haven't been texting me or calling me or checking on my son situation, please don't call me now if it's not to help with his appeal. That goes for everyone. Like what? That's what he said. I am here for the show, said Diddy probably slipped him 100. Because he did mention like he's been through a lot with his son. He mentioned over the years he's been homeless. He mentioned a lot of things that his life basically has been good. You know, he's had some hard times, some rough times. So he's mentioned that over on his page as well. Oh, his son is accused of unaliving someone, but it's, let me pull up the video. I got to take the music off of it because I don't want them problems. But so he has music. So this is his son. So what he's alleging is, I'm gonna read it why this goes. Let me see. So that is his son. He said that January 7th of 2011, my son was arrested in Nambia, Africa, charged with unaliving. 13 years later, no eyewitness, no weapon, no DNA, no fingerprints, and no motive. For 13 years, we have been fighting this case. Judge did not give him 13 years credit, which also proves prejudice and illegal. We fight. Where is the evidence being American in a foreign country is not a crime? All we've ever asked for is evidence and a fair trial. 19 months in solitary confinement, beaten on numerous occasions, yet he still stands tall. January 29th, we fight again. We need your spiritual support and emotional support, as well as your financial support for legal and travel fees. Thank you for your prayers and financial help. Thank you. So then he has his Cash App up. He has his Venmo up. He has his PayPal up. And I don't know, I guess that's Zelle because he has his email as well. So perhaps, this is just a theory, he was putting that stuff up to say, you can slip me a couple of dollars because I need it, because I'm trying to get my son out, and he's trying to use this as a way to bring more light to what's going on with his son. You said, oh, sorry. Oh, happy Sunday, Val. But yeah. Yep, that's what I'm saying. Ding, ding, ding. And we were all sitting there like, oh, he probably really has some information. He about to tell us something. Oh my goodness. We were sitting up there waiting for a nothing burger because it probably was going to be nothing that he was going to tell us. You said, Miss Roney said, wow, stories like this make me want to not move to Africa. Yep, he said jailed in Africa. Yep. Rose Flippin said Africa does not play games. T Smooth said once Cassie got her millions, now these females want their come up. I'm just saying, I know that Gloria Valez is writing a book. She mentioned it about a year ago in one of her YouTube videos that I saw, but apparently she ain't wrote it. So this would be a good time to write one, right? Because you got all these people that's inboxing her and she's reposting what they're saying. So I guess now she wants to tell her story. And clearly, see, the thing is, it sounds horrible, but it was obviously a whole different climate because 16, 15, 16-year-olds, like I said, apparently they were the ones in all the videos. They were the ones, Nick Cannon, he was doing an interview with somebody and he mentioned it. And I'm going to tell you what Nick Cannon had to say as well. I'm going to put his video up. So, because I get where he's coming from. If my kid was locked up and this is the way to get people to, I guess, pay attention to it if they didn't know or pay attention to him, because most of us didn't even know who he was. Then okay, but doing it in this fashion, like off of Cassie's pain, is kind of a little jacked up, you know. Yep, that's the one I'm gonna play. Nick asked Sam about Jay-Z. Because everyone was telling me about Jay-Z, right? And so I said, you got to bring me some authority. So I started looking at some of the stuff and I was like, oh, okay, well, I mean, again, it's all alleged. From my understanding, I didn't see Jay-Z get any of these lawsuits before the statute expired. Okay, I'm going to need you guys to hit that like button, okay? And we're going to take, before I put on what Nick Cannon had to say, we do have our merch. I started out in the members. I'll put it out probably regular. I'll put the link on the community wall next couple of days. But most of the stuff is sold out. Shout out to my members that pretty much then cleared out the merch already for the shirts. So I'm gonna have to like re-up and put some more on the website. But yeah, it's it has your social media juror. Guys see. Then it has the law intellect on the top over here. So shout out to y'all. We also have tumblers. I'll probably put it on next week. I'll put it on the site. I have a lot of court this week, so I'm gonna have to get it in where I can fit it in. These are the tumblers that'll go up. Oh, wait a minute. Got Luke on here. Hold on. Hopefully y'all can see those. Those are the tumblers. For those of you that might be interested in purchasing the tumblers. Thank you, dear. I appreciate it. You said make sure the notification. So California, Tracy said California's expires December 31st. So now, all through December, we about to have probably the same set of different lawsuits. Probably some of the same people. So we are going to pay attention in California as well with specific names. Yes. Okay, so this is what Nick Cannon had to say. So Nick Cannon was being nosy, I guess, and he asked a question. You said, we are going to lose a lot of music people when this is over. You think so? He said, AK Mama Smalls is saying God is showing out. Why are they expiring? Okay, so these were, I explained it before, but I'm going to explain it for you too as well, because it's probably some other people that want to know that question as well. The statute was specifically created in order to revive statutes of limitation. If they made it where there was no limitation, then it would defeat the point of having what we call subterfuge, where it defeats the purpose of even having a statute of limitation. Because if you're just going to create a statute that eliminates it, then you're going to always be open to litigation for years. So as a compromise, I believe would be the reason why they, as a reason why I believe that they came with a compromise, which is what you do to get bills passed, laws passed. And they said, well, let's just open it up for a year. Now, people are making it seem like it's only Black men being targeted, but this is the same statute that Weinstein was under. This is the same one that what is his name? Epstein, I think one of his civil lawsuits were under. Again, Jimmy Iovine, he got sued under here. Cuomo. So it's not just a Black thing. I think because the demographics of what we're talking about over here is probably a lot of Black people. So that's why it seems that way. So I've seen some Black advocates that's been like, are Black men being targeted? Yeah, that statute literally has no color. It has no color to it. And I think it's hitting whoever it can hit and whoever has the courage to come out. Thank you, Ebony J, for the $4.99. You got Detroit. What up, though? Sounds like the bodyguard has been threatened and he don't want to make things harder for his son. Goons ways come for your weak point. Yeah, and it also seems like if he was that loyal all this time, why wouldn't Diddy or anybody help him with his son? He shouldn't be asking for money. If you were that loyal to the point where you wasn't snitching on him and you're still being quiet all these years later when you kept your secrets, NDA or not, sometimes some things is worth breaching. And you just said, F me after I know all this stuff about you. Like he really can, like, he could have really exposed him even before Cassie. But again, until Cassie was ready to come out, maybe his exposing wasn't going to mean much. Because as you see, like with Gene, he has all these videos and we're looking at them more now. They're probably getting way more views now than they were when they first came out. I missed the Cash App too. Linda, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate you. So yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. Hopefully that answers your question. Yep, Trump. I'm just saying, I know we went over, we do a little bit, like we'll do politicians as well, because you know my undergrad is poli-sci, so I love politics too. But I throw it in. I know some of y'all don't give no dang about the whole thing. But you know, if you go through my videos, I got a few on Trump. With Trump, though, you put Trump in your title, just know you're not getting paid nothing off that video because they automatically just demonetize you. So you know, hopefully they don't just hear it in this video and decide to do it because that's exactly what they do for some reason. But yes, he is another one. So no, I think what I suspect, the reason why people were running down to the courthouse last week is Cassie's lawsuit was so worldwide. Like it wasn't just here for the US. I think it was so worldwide that perhaps we seen the one lawsuit with the young lady that said Cassie's lawsuit is the one that gave her courage to do it. Some people didn't know they had that opportunity. They didn't pay it any attention. Nobody really mentioned that statute when Trump got sued. Nobody mentioned that statute when Weinstein got sued. Nobody mentioned it. But because it was like Cassie and them, they like put it specifically on what gave them the right to do it and that the statute of limitation was not expired because they're doing it under this statute, this look back statute. And maybe now some people were able to, they realized and they found lawyers like, can you work in 24 hours and file this on my behalf? You said the orange guy. That's what I'm going to have to do, Alex, because they literally just, yeah, so. Thank you, Precious Michael. Yeah. I'm learning a whole lot with stuff in the 90s. And all I was doing was bopping my head to the music. I was not. And half the time I made the words up. I'm going to be honest. Now that I'm older, I actually look at the lyrics. But half the time, or I'll start singing and I'm like, ooh, that's what that says? I don't know. I can't even play that in the car with my kids. Yeah, and one of those cases, remember, the last lawsuit mentions Epstein. So we all got our ears to the wall on that one. So that one, I can't wait till they put those facts out because it was just a notice that they were going to, well, it wasn't a notice. They did have a brief lawsuit. But because it was at the last minute, it was like right before the 24th came. It was like that night on Thanksgiving. they didn't put much information in there, but they put enough to perk our ears up. Like, what is he about to come with? Monique says, sadly, we still be listening. I'm definitely guilty. Yep. I was listening to Aaron Hall, but I didn't know all of this though. But I was listening to Aaron Hall literally an hour before that lawsuit came out. And I was like, it was so random why I even wanted to listen to him. And then it came out. Then I was like, let me look up a little bit more stuff about Aaron Hall. And then that's when I put the link when I was going to go over the lawsuit. And I put the link in the chat. I'm like, you guys, you have got to go over here and watch this interview. Aaron Hall is a whack job, man. It's just like something is wrong with this dude, in my opinion. Why is it that some people say RA or some say assault and others use? Well, there can be a difference because some things has penetration and some are still an assaultive like. So they have like criminal, like in Michigan, they have tiers. So they got some where it can be your fingers. They got some where it can be your body parts. They got some where it can be unwanted touching, groping. It's some where, you know, you touch various parts. So there are levels to it. So you said, Aaron Hall, we won't miss you. But you guys have got to hear what Nick Cannon had to say. This is what our boy Nick had to say.
Let's just say girls that, you know, were in the hip hop community and stuff like that. And I just from a fan, I was like, my understanding, Foxy got signed at like 15, 16 years old. And the first time I had Dame in front of me, I was like, how old was she when y'all was in the studio? Like, was anything going on? And if he would have just said no, I think he was like, oh, I see what you doing. Oh, you funny. Like why ain't nobody speaking up? Because everybody been condoning this bullshit in hip hop and film and television and sports. There's young teenage girls around grown ass fucking men all the time.
Yeah.
Quote me. Like I see, and it has to stop.
I agree.
Like I don't care if you're a billionaire now. I don't care if you married now. Like if we gonna call out everybody we calling out, then everybody got to come to the table. If you fucked a 15-year-old, I don't care who you are, you gotta.
Well, remember Tiger was with Kylie when she was a teenager.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like if you fucking 15-year-olds and you a grown ass man, there's something fucking wrong with you.
Let's just say.
You hear what Nick said? Nick alleges that he asked Dame, like, so was something going on? Because y'all was recording with her at like 15. Now, I don't know how old this interview is, because again, a lot of interviews are just surfacing. But you said Vlad had everyone exposing themselves, like with no problem. Like, what did you think? It wasn't gonna go past the room? They was videotaping it, but it wasn't gonna go anywhere after that. I'm not understanding this. Vlad is why Keefe D is right now in jail eating turkey sandwiches for the holidays. And all of these people go on Vlad, or now it's Drink Champs, you know, they go on these platforms and they just tell stuff. And I think a lot of the freedom with some of these people, like Aaron Hall, is because they know it was so long ago and people can't bring civil lawsuits. But they did not know that the legislature had a trick up their sleeves and they were going to do this statute that allows people to go ahead and still sue you for that. I mean, Gloria Valez, she could have done it. But like she said she was in love. She was in a relationship. He was abusive to her and all of that. So would that be grooming, since you said Luke was the groomer, allegedly? You know, or because it's your baby daddy. Now, she did say on that same interview, she being Gloria Valez, said that her and Aaron Hall are at a better place. So after he did that interview and it went viral and all of that, because the interview was a while ago that Aaron Hall did, like 7 years ago or something. And she said he apologized to her and they're in a better place now. And I guess, they're grandparents, and she said he's a good grandparent. So a lot of these people, they just feel like because they've asked for forgiveness now to whoever, that this stuff is going to go away. But it sounds like there were some wild times that even it's probably beyond their memory capacity, some of the things that some of these people have done. But for the people that were the alleged victims of it, it's always in the front of their mind. So you may not even remember being at a party or being at so-and-so's house or whatever. And they remember. And that's probably why they're going to say a lot of this stuff ain't true. And it's going to be very difficult to prove. And that's one of the things people ask about statutes of limitation. As time goes on, it's very, very hard to prove cases. If you have stuff from the 90s, you got people that are deceased. You don't got cameras. People aren't preserving video from the 90s most of the time, unless it's something that's significant or sentimental to them. These stores, these hotels, whoever, they're not keeping this stuff. Your best bet is when it's fresh and it's happening. That's your best bet when it comes to litigation. So you do have to have the ability to prove your case. And so that's what you run into. Cassie, I don't know if she had a diary, because she knew hotels, she knew dates, she knew specific events. She threw names in there. I mean, she had it where perhaps people were really concerned that she kept evidence of some sort, because that would definitely explain why this lawsuit got settled as fast as it did, in my opinion. Again, Diddy said none of this is true. He still vehemently denies everything. And so we always have to say that, but we don't know his side. He has not really talked except saying it wasn't true. He obviously didn't answer the complaint because he settled it before it was even served. And that's that. She did. Back then, didn't the parents have to give permission for these kids to be in videos or whatever they were doing? Well, that's what Luke said. He said they had releases. So yes, when you use somebody's name or likeness, you're supposed to sign a release, even to this day. Because if they're not getting paid beyond the $20 or whatever they paying them, they put in there, you're not entitled to any royalties. You're not entitled. They tell you everything you're not entitled to, and that I can use your name and likeness how I want to. If I want to put it on Instagram, I can. If I want to put it on a billboard, I can. I own it. So yes, you have to sign a release. Now, the caveat to that is you cannot contract as a minor. So if they were the only one signing it, that release would not be valid in theory, because you can breach contracts and say that the contract is not valid. So let's just say they had minors who were signing NDAs. If they were minors, then they can argue the contract wasn't valid because they didn't have the mental capacity to contract, because they weren't adults, they were minors. But then when it comes to a lot of these escapades, you also have the age of consent. That was some of the things that they went through with R. Kelly. In most states, the age of consent is 16 to have intercourse. So you deal with that as well. There's so many different layers to this. Because I think like in North Carolina, some of those down south, they raised it now, but it used to be like 14 was the age of consent in some of those southern states, because they were getting married at those ages. So when you look at the times, even back then, that's a lot of stuff that they're running into. And like Gloria has said, I think a lot of them didn't think anything was wrong with it back then. And then now that they're older, it's like, why would this grown man be trying to woo me? Why were these old dudes trying to do whatever to me? But back then it was almost as if that was the times and that was okay. It's just a lot. But again, only the DA can charge anyone. That is true. All police do is investigate. They turn over. They might request a warrant. They investigate, they turn it over to the DA. If the DA declines to prosecute, because all they need is probable cause in order to keep you hooked. But most DAs, if they are good DAs, they want it to be where they believe they can win beyond a reasonable doubt. They're not just going to go on some probable cause, because probable cause is a low standard. If a crime was committed, if I say somebody stole my purse, I can go on the stand and say my purse was stolen, which we know is theft, or armed robbery if they use the weapon or however it is. And then the person sitting at the defense table, I say that person did it. That's probable cause. It's just something, a crime was committed and I'm saying you did it. That's how low the standard is. But most of the time, prosecutors want to know that beyond probable cause, they can prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt, because that's the standard at trial, which is totally different. Because if you have doubts, then you're not supposed to convict. So that's what you do as a defense attorney, is you poke holes in their story so that you can say, oh, well, maybe they weren't there that day. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't. Oh, maybe that wasn't the right whatever. Maybe the trajectory is off. Maybe this and that. Oh, they got a history of lying. Oh, they lied on these people before. That's what you do, is you plant doubt. He said, if it don't fit, it must have quit. That was the line. We will never have a Johnny Cochran again. He said it's still active. Child, we all been trying. We need Farnsworth Bentley to come and approach the bench, because we've been looking for Farnsworth since all of this stuff happened. Because if you were the one there just to hold an umbrella, that means you were around for a lot of stuff. Also, what is her name? Gibson, the one that was doing she was doing all the choreography, like on Making the Band and all of that. Remember, her and Diddy got into it real bad. Lori Ann. I'm sure she has a whole lot to say too. Because it's very interesting when he was shouting people out. He mentioned when he shouted people out when he got that BET Lifetime Achievement Award, he mentioned TD Jakes. So everybody was like, what do so then all these pictures have been surfacing of TD Jakes with Diddy. He mentioned Lori Ann Gibson. He said, for keeping me free. He was all like, what does that even mean? Huh? Keeping you free? Let me pull that up. I mean, everything now, we're just looking in a different lens since that lawsuit. I think we're all looking at it from a different lens. Let's see. They were talking about, of course, they said Kim Porter was writing a book. I have people send me so much stuff. But yeah. But yeah. That is that, guys. That is what is going on with with this freeze. Why this is still on here? Let me see. Yeah. That is what is going on. We are going to keep an eye on, because we're still collecting all of our evidence as it pertains to all of these allegations, and watching the responses to these lawsuits that have been filed. But I thought that because I kept on posting different things that was happening on Instagram, that it was best to do a live so that we can explain it. So you guys, make sure, we've been on a good hour. Make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe if you have not done so already. It was over 1,300 of you guys in here on a Sunday. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, I appreciate all the ones that have already sold the merch out. You said, could TD Jakes get a subpoena? Tony B, anybody can get a subpoena in a lawsuit. We already went through that. I just want to know, I mean, again, TD Jakes, I think Jaguar Wright talked about that too. When somebody asked about TD Jakes, she was like, why would TD Jakes be at a party with Diddy? Said it's only 2 reasons. She gave 2 reasons, and she said she hoped it was for the money. So yeah, yep, Yolanda, pretty much anybody can get it for real. Thank you to the mods that showed up today. I appreciate you. All right, y'all, hit that like button. I'm about to get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Again, thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it. We did hit our 20,000. So if anybody wants to help celebrate, monetary donations are not mandatory, but they are always appreciated. We had the Cash App that's in there. We also have PayPal, which is the Law Intellects at gmail.com. And I think that's the end of the business, right? Is that the end of the business? I think that's it. I'm sure hopefully we'll cross paths this week where I'll be able to update you and give you more information on what is trending from the neighborhood to Hollywood. Until then, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time.